I feel really unworthy to be here. This is quite an honorable group up here. I've never actually sat between an imam and a Catholic priest before, and shared the stage with four honorable native elders and Presbyterian. And Terry Chapin has always been my hero, so I apologize to everybody here because I'm certainly unworthy. So I have worked with, looked at studying climate change for many, many years, and I give a lot of presentations on the topic. And I work a lot in high schools and grade schools, and I always start out with asking, how many people believe in climate change? And I'll ask you to raise your hand. How many people believe in climate change? So this is not unexpected here. There was a few people who didn't raise their hand, but in the high schools it's about half. But you know, in Alaska, half the people in the high schools don't believe in climate change. And if you look at the Arctic, in the last 100 years, the Arctic has risen by 3 degrees. It's warmed up 3 degrees in the last 100 years. Now, the globe has only raised, the global temperature has only raised about 0.9 degrees, so not so much. The Arctic is really warming fast. And that's the reason so many people don't believe it. And the first solid evidence that we had that the climate was warming actually came from Alaska. It was in 1986 when they showed the temperatures of permafrost were warming. And there's no question that was the first solid evidence, the first proof that the climate was warming. That's 1986, wasn't that long ago. And so we're warming a lot, but the rest of the planet is not. I mean, the rest of the Earth is not warming so much. The United States, the lower 48, is not warming very much at all. But we have to think about the difference. So we're warming, the Arctic is warming about 3 degrees. Now, a lot of people think, so what? You know, it's warmed up 3 degrees since I drove here. But that's the difference between climate and weather. The Earth is an incredibly thermally stable place. And if we took where we were about 1900 and we cooled it 3 degrees, we'd be back in an ice age. So we're a very, very, very stable place. And so 3 degrees of warming is a lot. And 3 degrees of warming is causing a lot of changes in our environment. One of the things we were assigned to was just talk about some of the changes we've seen. So we've seen permafrost warming, so we've seen incredible amounts of degradation, thermal degradation. The glaciers all around the planet are being hammered. So especially in Alaska. The glaciers in Alaska have caused most of the sea level rise that we've seen in the last 100 years. Wildfires are increasing, both in number and severity. The lakes across Alaska, Canada, and Siberia are shrinking. The lakes in the southern parts of the permafrost region. And so that's going to cause impacts to migratory waterfowl and indigenous populations that use those lakes. Coastal erosion is going gangbusters all around the whole circumpolar Arctic. And so that's a real problem for us. We're getting increasing numbers and severity of storms in the Arctic. As everybody knows, the sea ice is shrinking. And as the sea ice shrinks, that causes a whole cascade of other events. One of the things that my group has been working on for the last 5 years is to understand the Arctic as a system. And so we're looking at how the shrinking of the ice affects the marine ecosystems, how it affects the clouds, how it affects the vegetation around the Arctic. And it was actually, I've learned a lot today. It's been a really good day for me, and I really appreciate what Ole Lake has said as far as his wisdom as far as seeing the earth in a blade of grass. And you know, I've kind of lost that perspective. We're trying to study it from the perspective of the complexity to understand how everything fits together so we can project how it changes. But we're really losing the wisdom and the vision of the simplicity of the system. The animal species, we're seeing tremendous changes in that. As far as we're seeing a lot of migration of both terrestrial and marine species northward, both in the Bering Sea and in the Barents Sea. We're seeing beavers farther north than we've ever seen before. And I guess one of the biggest, most urgent issues that we're facing actually is ocean acidification. As the carbon increases in the atmosphere, the oceans are absorbing more carbon, the pH of the oceans are increasing. There's just no question. A lot of people will question that the carbon dioxide and methane in the atmosphere are causing increasing temperatures. And there is some reason for that. I mean, we have to go through model proofs to demonstrate that the increasing carbon dioxide is related to the warming of the planet. But there is no question the increasing carbon dioxide is causing increasing ocean acidification. With that ocean acidification, that is going to hammer the marine species. And that's a big issue for us. One of the questions that Mary asked us to address is what is the root cause for the destruction of our planet? And I guess I don't believe we're destroying our planet. Our planet is incredibly resilient. The planet is going to survive. What we're destroying is the habitat for us. And so we're destroying our own habitat. The ocean acidification is going to cause tremendous damage to the crustaceans, to the shell creatures, and the whole trophic structure above that. And the U.S. survives. I mean, 60% of our seafood comes out of the North Pacific. If ocean acidification hammers that trophic structure in the ocean, we will feel it immediately, and so will the rest of the globe. There was an important article in Science last week that showed that, that food production is down. Food production of grains, of wheat, corn, sorghum, and maize. Corn, wheat, maize, rice, and sorghum would have been increased by 5% in the last decade if not been for climate change. That science and technology actually allowed the production of grains to keep up with that loss, keep up with climate change in the last decade. But we won't be able to do that inevitably. And so climate is going to hammer terrestrial products, productions. It is going to hammer the marine ecosystem. And science and technology can't keep out ahead of it. And so, what can we do about it? I guess I agree with Imam Chaudhry as far as we have to, and I guess I'm sorry, with Reverend Carnes, we have to live more within our means. We have to reduce our consumptions. Father Weiss also said something quite wise this morning, in that he told me that we should work on writing one sentence a day. And really, and I guess Reverend Carnes also said something very similar, in that it's the little steps we take. Each of us can take little steps that can make a difference. And if the whole globe, all people in the world, take these little steps, then we can make those changes. And essentially, that's what it's going to take. So I think I will end with going back to what I think Billy Lake said something very wise this morning. He said, common sense begins with a blade of grass. We must teach the children to be aware of our surroundings. And that was very eloquent, and I think that's the hope I have for the future, actually, is that it is the children that are going to carry us out of this. But we need to communicate that to them right now. So with that, I'll end. Thank you.
Thank you very much.